And our London correspondent, Jonathan Sacerdoti, here with us this time in our Jaffa studios. Good evening.
Good evening.
So let's talk about these polls. 3 different polls showing a Brexit in the lead. How surprised should we be about that?
Well, this is something of a turnaround, and over the period of the campaign, the polling numbers have been slowly edging that way. But for most of the time, it's been roughly 50-50. And now 3 different polls released saying the same thing, that Britain is going to vote to leave the EU. So that is something of a shock for all. And as we've seen, it's been something of a shock also for the pound.
And if there's any doubt about the economic weight of this argument one way or another, it's the markets made that clear.
The uncertainty is what most people who are voting to remain within the EU cite as the main motivation for that choice. However, those who are campaigning to leave say that you can't sell their democratic right, their democratic freedoms within the UK for the sake of economics. And that's really been the crux of the argument throughout. Those who wish to remain say that all economists and all those who professionally predict what's going to happen in the markets are saying that this will be dangerous, that this will create uncertainty and then create a recession even. But those on the other side are saying that nobody can really know what will happen in terms of the economics. And in reality, the important features they believe are immigration and, of course, the democratic deficit of the EU, as they put it.
So let's look ahead to tomorrow to this Cameron-Farage face-off. Farage is the one who pushed him in a corner, in a way, in the first place to even announcing this referendum, which doesn't seem like Cameron really wanted in the first place. Why commit to this?
Well, this is very interesting as well, because the debate that's going to take place isn't really a proper debate. Both of the leaders will be on the same programme, but they won't be facing off and arguing with one another face-to-face. Instead, each will have half an hour, and they'll be questioned by the 200-strong audience.
And surely their arguments are going to have a lot of weight on which way this vote goes.
Indeed, they will. And David Cameron, being the Prime Minister, obviously carries some weight, but Nigel Farage is a populist speaker, a man who knows how to speak to the general population in quite a direct way, and as you say, is perhaps the person who did most in the last decade to push this situation to arise in the first place, where David Cameron, a Conservative Prime Minister, opened up a rift within his own party and offered the nation a referendum on whether to remain within the EU in the first place.
There are a lot of fears to tap into these days. Cameron has a tough fight ahead of him in just 2.5 weeks. Jonathan Sacerdoti, thanks very much for this.